Hi, my name is Barb Sackel. Today's video is made possible by QuiltWoman.com. In this video today, I will be showing you what I call square in the corner technique. This technique is out on the market, however, it doesn't have a name that's consistent across the board. So this is the name I gave it, and I use it very often in my patterns, and again I call it square in the corner technique. What that means is when you have a square and I want a pop of color in the corner, instead of cutting the square on the bias edge and then fitting it in there nicely, I just put a full square in place, such as this. Now, let me show you a square. Here's my square. I want a pop of color in the corner. I'm going to put this full square in the corner. I'm going to sew on the diagonal, and then this inside piece gets folded and ironed out, and it's really that simple. So let's see what the tricks are that make this technique so simple. First, we'll do this perfect square, and then we'll do the flying geese unit. So this, if I put this color in each corner, this is known as a snowball block. So I would set up my unit, my square, right sides together. Now I have to sew from corner to corner. But there is a trick to this. The first thing you can do is you can draw a line on the back side of your fabric. This line is not going to be cut, so there is the problem that when you fold this back you could see a shadowing behind it. Not only is that a problem, but if you have 100 of these to do, that can really make you sit down and spend time on something that's not that fun. So what I do is I actually draw a line right on my sewing machine, and I'll leave this up to you whether you want to do that or not. You could also use a piece of masking tape, by the way, and then that way that won't be marking your machine. But what I do is I take a ruler and I line it up directly in front of my needle, and you can see there's a straight line there, and then I take a Sharpie marker and I just draw the line. Give it a few seconds to dry before you touch it. Now I have my line there, and that's going to be my guide for every time I want to do the square in the corner technique. So, remember what I said we're going to do from corner to corner? Well, I'm going to name these two corners. The top corner is going to be your head, and the bottom corner is going to be your tail. So we're going to insert the head into the needle, and the tail is going to follow that line right up. So I'm going to sew like this. The head gets inserted first. I'm not going to watch the needle. All I'm going to do is watch the tail and drive that tail right along the line. So as I'm sewing, I'm just watching the tail and letting the tail follow that line. And that's how I get the sewing done without marking 100 of these little squares. So let's actually sew it and show you what I mean. Okay, so here we have our fabric. We're going to make a snowball block. So I put the square in the corner, right sides together. Now remember, we're going to start with the head and we're going to follow the tail right up that line. So lift up your presser foot to give it a good head start, and all I'm going to do is watch the tail. That's it. Let's do another one. And it goes this fast. You can chain these. If I had a lot of snowballs, I would do one corner at a time and then chain them all, that one corner. Okay, so now my snowball block has all the pieces sewn on. Now I'll leave this option up to you. You can either cut both of these pieces off, or you can cut one off and leave the other one as a guide. I tend to cut them both off and then press this open. So with that, I'm going to go into my scissors and I'm going to cut a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and this triangle unit is just discarded, and I'm just going to keep going around, cut away all my excess fabric, and once I iron these open, this block is done. So if you wanted to do a flying geese block such as this, it is the exact same technique, only we do one side at a time. So here we have our rectangle and our one piece, and instead of in the corner, you can see it really fits the size of this. But I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start with the head, and I'm going to follow that tail right up the line. Now I'm going to take my scissors and cut away the excess material, and I'm going to press this open. For right now, I'm just going to finger press it for you so I can continue to work, but you can see that that finger presses open just nice. Once you have that pressed open, then you can go ahead and add your other side. And again, you can chain these by just doing one side. And we're going to pretend that that is ironed open. Normally you would really iron it. And again, following my tail. Right up the line, your flying geese unit is done that fast and that simple. And then I would cut that off and press this open. And here it is, your flying geese unit. Now let me show you a couple quilts that have this technique shown in them. Like I said, I love this technique and I use it often in my patterns. So if my patterns look a little complicated to you, now you know the trick. They are very easy. Here's a pattern I made called Easy Breezy, and I made it for a little girl, and then I made her matching doll quilt to go along with it. But now, now you know the trick. It's one center piece and square in the corner. Then I did one round of borders and square in the corner. One round of borders again and a square in the corner. Well, here's a big square in the corner. There's nothing tricky about this except it was just a longer tail following up. And on a piece this big, I might mark the back of it because you can't see the whole unit on your sewing machine. And again, you can see as I progressed with borders, I just kept sticking little squares out there. And it was that simple. Here's another quilt I have. And you'll notice with this one that just these little pops of color in the corners of these squares give a secondary design. So it looks like the frame of the purple is extending. And you're thinking, boy, that's a little piece to work with. But now you know it's only 1.5 inches square. It takes 2 seconds to put it on this half square triangle unit. That's all it is. So have some fun with square in the corner. And if you like these patterns I'm showing you, look for more on QuiltWoman.com. Thank you for joining me today.